As the Vesper bells chimed their holy tune, the town was enveloped in a serene silence. Everyone paused, momentarily casting aside their daily tasks to pay homage. The laborers returning from the fields murmured prayers, while women crossed themselves, moving their lips to show their devotion. Even the men, who often seemed unconcerned with such traditions, stopped to say a quick prayer, hoping for blessings in their endeavors. The sound of the Ave Maria filled the air, drowning out the noise of everyday life, creating a moment of collective piety. However, in the midst of this sacred tranquility, Padre Salvi, the local curate, hurried across the street, hatless and agitated, much to the dismay of the local women who gasped at his rudeness. They expected him to bless them, but he ignored their gestures. Something must have been terribly wrong because he wasn't interested in his usual flirtations with the young women, nor in his own image as a representative of the church. Rushing up the stairway to the alferez's house, he knocked impatiently on the door. The alferez appeared, his face contorted in annoyance, trailed closely by his wife, who wore an unsettling smile. "Ah, Padre, I was just about to come see you," he grumbled, irritation lining his voice. "That old goat of yours. I have something very important to discuss," Padre Salvi interrupted, barely able to contain himself. The alferez continued ranting, boasting about how he'd shoot the goat if it returned. "That is, if you are alive tomorrow," the panicked curate exclaimed, his heart racing. The alferez, not grasping the gravity of the situation, scoffed. "What? You think that weakling would kill me? I'll kick him into next week." Padre Salvi stepped back, taking an involuntary look at the alferez's feet. "Whom are you talking about?" he asked nervously. "I'm talking about that fool who challenged me to a duel with revolvers at 100 paces. "Ah," sighed the curate, exasperated. "I didn't come here to discuss that." The alferez, still agitated, laughed dismissively. "It'll probably end like that ridiculous fight between two kids last week." As the light flickered dimly in the room, the claustrophobic tension began to rise, and the alferez's face started to lose color. "What's going on, Salvi? You're acting crazy." "Now listen closely," the curate implored, lowering his voice dramatically. "I've uncovered a dangerous conspiracy." The alferez blinked in shock, the humor leaving his face. "A conspiracy? What are you talking about?" "I just learned that there's a plan to attack tonight," Padre Salvi revealed, "and it's well organized." "Tonight?" The alferez, now alarmed, grabbed for his revolver and sword hanging on the wall. "Who will I arrest? Who will I arrest?" "Calm down, we still have time. Thanks to my promptness, we have until 8 o'clock to act." "I'll shoot them all," he declared, his bravado returning. "No, listen. A woman came to me this afternoon, but I can't reveal her name. It's a secret from confession. She told me that at 8 o'clock they will strike. They'll seize the barracks, rob the convent, and murder all of us Spaniards." The alferez stood stunned, trying to absorb the information. "She didn't tell you who else is involved?" "She told me nothing more than that," the curate replied. "Then I'll arrest her. Where is she?" "I can't allow that. The bar of penitence is sacred," Padre Salvi insisted. "Sacred? What good is that now? I'll arrest her anyway," the alferez thundered. "Stop losing your head. You need to prepare your men, sneak them into hiding, and get 4 guards for the convento. Notify the police in charge of the boat discreetly." "The boat isn't here. I'll ask the other sections for help." "No," Padre Salvi snapped. "If you do that, they'll be warned and the plot will disappear. We must capture them without raising any alarms." As the tension began to work its way through the room, the alferez's ambition sparked back to life. "Right! I'll make sure it's known that I'm the reason they were caught. I'll get a cross or even a star for this." "Just send me the guards in plain clothes," whispered the cunning curate, "and be discreet. By tonight your bravery will be rewarded." Meanwhile, Elias, the young revolutionary, raced toward Ibarra's residence. Reaching the door, he called out, "Is your master here?" A servant replied, "He's in his study." Ibarra was absorbed in his work, tinkering with bamboo in his laboratory. "Ah, Elias, I was just thinking about you. I wanted to discuss the properties of this bamboo I've been studying." With enthusiasm, he explained how he had discovered it was incombustible. But Elias interrupted. "Let's not discuss that, sir. You need to gather your papers and flee right now." Ibarra looked taken aback. "Flee? Why? What's with the urgency?" "It's not safe for you. You must destroy everything that might compromise you," Elias insisted, anxiety lacing his voice. "What do you mean?" Ibarra responded, confusion etched on his face. Elias closed in, whispering urgently. "There's a plot forming against you, and they'll frame you as the leader. They'll blame you for it all." "Frame me? What? Who? What do I do?" Ibarra exclaimed, feeling the weight of impending doom. "Burn every letter, every document. Anything that could be misconstrued must go," Elias urged, his heart pounding. "What about Maria Clara? I can't just leave her," Ibarra protested, thoughts of his beloved flooding his mind. "Do it for her. Save yourself. You're more valuable to her alive than dead," Elias pleaded. "Get away and lie low until this blows over." "I can't abandon her," Ibarra cried. "You don't have a choice. They will come for you. You need to protect yourself for her sake," Elias insisted, desperation leaking into his tone. In a moment of frantic understanding, Ibarra shouted, "Then help me! We need to sort through my papers now." They scrambled, desperately searching the desk for anything that could seal Ibarra's fate. Ibarra muttered to himself, "I'll burn this and this," as he tossed letters into the flame. "Wait," Elias interjected. "Was your family connected to a Don Pedro Ibarra Mendia?" "Of course. He was my great-grandfather," Ibarra answered casually. Elias's face went pale. "Do you know who he was?" "He was the villain who falsely accused my grandfather, leading to our family's suffering. This is beyond twisted." Ibarra, alarmed and confused, could barely process the news. "What are you talking about? We shortened our name. It was too long." "Your family should have been cursed. You're living proof of his betrayal," Elias shouted, emotion spilling forth. "And here you are, unaware of how your legacy ruins mine." In a frenzied moment, Elias grasped a dagger, the weight of vengeance closing in on him. Yet in an instant he dropped it, overwhelmed by his conflicting emotions, leaving Ibarra in shocked silence as he fled the house, grappling with both rage and sorrow.